is it to actually get a space like that to myself. And by space meaning I just have this whole area for me to literally sit back, watch the sun, do a little sketch for you. And with that, that's the good side of today's video. And then there's also the bad side, or maybe not so bad side. I'm just gonna be taking a short break from YouTube, but more of that as we sketch. Alright, so hello. Because today we seem to found kind of a place in the shade, I thought I would just try to do this in real time in front of all of y'all and make sure that everything is in focus. I'm just gonna spray this, but away from my sketchbook. So we've got this art toolkit. Nothing really changes, and nothing in this channel is going to change much. Can't promise that, but I can say I hope that nothing changes so much. And really what's happening is I'm just having a really busy upcoming few weeks with Rite of Passage. So I am going to be part of the team as an editor. And I just thought, you know, since I am going to be joining them and editing a couple of essays in this upcoming cohort, I thought I would try to devote myself there fully and not have to worry about this YouTube channel. Not that I don't enjoy this YouTube channel, but I think it's more so like there's a limited amount of time that I have after work for things that kind of tickle my soul. And although I wish I could do everything that tickles my soul, I realistically can't. So we are going to pick and choose, and the course itself is going to be about 5 weeks. I might take an extra week off for that. I'm not too sure yet what my plans are, and I think it's also a good time for me to kind of like pause, reflect on uploading videos for about a year and 9 months now. And I know it's not that much in like the grand scheme of things, but I don't think I'll ever pass a opportunity to reflect, because I feel like it's always beneficial to kind of like take stock of what's been going on, what's going well, what's not going really well. And also, honestly, I'm really curious what you guys like about the stuff that I post on this channel, because I'm not an expert in any way in watercoloring, but I do enjoy it. So I'm wondering if you guys are mainly here because you want to see more of Hong Kong related stuff. Is that the like attraction factor, or do you just like to put me on in the background as you're like doing your chores? Which, no shame, I do that as well, honestly, with a lot of other channels and a lot of other kind of, not services, but just like YouTube in general. I do that a lot. So really no offense taken. But yeah, I would be really curious, because I think when I come back, I just want to know that whatever I'm doing might be beneficial to you guys. Not that it needs to be, essentially. I don't know what I'm saying. I think I'm just trying to figure out where to take this going forward, because I think it's nice to keep going, but it's also nice to reflect, and it's nice to iterate based on people's opinions. And I feel like whatever you guys are saying matters, because I think ultimately it blows my mind every single week to read my analytics, which I don't do very often, just because between this work, running my Substack, I'm left with like a very limited amount of time to actually look at it. But it blows my mind that there are people truly watching my stuff for enjoyment, and there's like hours and hours racked of this watching. So very interesting to me. Anyways, the sketch real quick. So I'm sketching the post office, and this is basically the area that I've blocked off for the shadow for now, and I'm just coloring it there really roughly, because sometimes I lose the light, because as you can see from the light in this video, the light kind of like dances all around the page, and sometimes it's really obvious where the light is, but I just want to have that like kind of mental acknowledgement. So this is the general post office, which is the central post office of Hong Kong, and I do love this. They have like a plethora of services here. It's also the closest post office to my office, so I do go here quite a bit. I think I'm just trying to figure out Chinese writing. I'm just gonna block that in mentally for now. And now we're gonna start sketching. And as you can see, the gouache is somewhat dried already, and this is because it's still somehow summer-ish weather in Hong Kong. It's about 30 degrees now, so but it's a lot cooler, so I'm not totally complaining. But I can't wait for it to be cooler, but because it's hot, the water in the paint tends to dry up a lot quicker, so we just have to make do with that. Let's get this water cup and also get a big brush. I think it's always nice to start with a big brush and a Kleenex. It's the one I use for my painting. It's always nice to reuse Kleenex because I don't like they dry and there's not a lot of pigment in it and they don't really reactivate, so there's no real I got bitten by an ant. There's no real reason to keep going for new ones. And now that I'm about to paint, I've lost the light. Maybe it gives me a good mid-tone. Okay, let's see. It's quite interesting, this spot that I've discovered here. I generally pass by this building every day, and I pass by the post office every day, but I don't necessarily like look or sit down here. So this is a new sitting area that I've just discovered just today, and it's quite fun because, you know, when you go into when you feel like you know the area, it's sometimes really nice just to be able to discover something new about it. Okay, so the light is back. So I think I'm just going to tint the shadows a little bit more blue. And it is a bit dark, but we'll go with that. Because the darker we go, the more contrasty the light will look. And for the light part, I will definitely have to use white gouache because this is a toned paper. Oh, and I guess you can hear like the construction here too. Maybe that's why I don't normally paint here. It's because I know that it's a little bit of a ruckus, but we'll keep on going with it. Okay, this is white gouache. It's permanent white, and it's one of my favorite things. I have like a lot of them. It's kind of bleeding out. What I tried doing is I just plop it on the page. Like oftentimes, for example, like this, I kind of know I'm gonna use it in like a large quantity. All right. So it is very bright, mainly because the sunshine, well, when it was shining, is pretty bright. And I didn't want to use like a pure white because nothing is really pure white. Everything is always like a tint. So this is just white mixed with yellow ochre. And I realized they make these like really beautiful highlights. And actually, my pencil drawing's already gone. So just me sketching, having a good time. Some people are coming over to have lunch, which I hope they enjoy. It's a good day to be outside and have a little bit of lunch. But I feel like here itself, you can already tell there is like a huge, strong contrast. And I don't know if I can meld these two lines to make it a little bit of a softer blend between the two. And really, because the beauty of gouache is that it reactivates, I just have to keep blending. And then while this dries, I'm going to dilute this even further, and I'm gonna work on this side. Just put like a little like light wash. Because this is the side of the building, and I realized with like architecture, you kind of have to be a little bit precise with the edges, especially. I think that's how you know it's a sharp edge. And how can I forget? There's a big bright blue sky behind. So I'm gonna take a little bit more of this white. I'm gonna put it here this time on the palette. I'm gonna mix a sky color. And I might ditch this brush. It's getting a bit too big for what I'm doing. And I guess while that makes for loose sketching, I kind of want not strict, but sharp edges for the edges of the building. I think this kind of looks like what the sky looks to me. Oops. Imagine if I had spilled that. That would have been fun. Getting more ant bites. Okay. Gyro painting outside, I guess. No, I did not wear repellent. I am, I guess, right in the way of right in the tracks of some ants. Might have read somewhere that if like you kill an ant, it kind of sends a distress signal. Actually, I don't know if that's true for ants. Is it mosquitoes? Is it bugs? I don't know. Anyone from the bug family. Not a big fan of you, but we shall coexist happily. If you do not bother me, I will not bother you. Honestly, I'm really enjoying this painting process. I went painting with like a friend a couple days ago, and it's like a friend who doesn't watercolor, but she's curious. And I feel like I'm growing more and more open to having like a little bit of confidence in sharing like happy experiences with people, especially like people that are interested in my own interests and people who are like willing to try the stuff that I'm interested in. So I also, well, with that friend actually, we went for an exercise class together because I kind of made a public announcement on my Instagram, like if anybody wants to try a gym class with me, I will go with them, just so that they don't have to be intimidated and going alone. I'm glad I put this shadow marker down first, because as the sun has moved, the shadow has moved. And I guess that's bound to happen in any kind of sketch setting. All right, last here. And then now for the windows on like the shadow side, I need to make sure that they are even darker because they are in fact in shadow. So your shadows in the dark need to be a little bit darker than the shadows in the light. So I think doing that would help add a little bit more dimension. Okay. I think with windows, you can just kind of suggest them. It doesn't have to be exact. They're a little bit more brown. Okay, there's some brown there. I know the last time I posted like a real-time video like this, it was pretty interesting to a lot of you, and I could honestly do more of these because these are also a little bit more straightforward to edit, I think, and shoot. And I would be able to do more of these as the weather cools down, because really I think the limitation with like time lapses of cameras is that it overheats. So if I'm able to do this, I'm able to do more of this in the winter or in the colder seasons. And even now I think I'm already getting like a much longer run time. I'm trying to look into my subject and try to figure out what I need to do next. There's a poster on this side that I kind of want to ignore. And maybe I'll just do a really, really faint, because it's like, it's lighter, but it's not that much lighter. Okay, I'm just gonna do that. It's actually also a little bit pink. I think that's a good enough color. And the reason why I'm leaving out the bottom is because I know there's gonna be like these greens that are gonna pop up from the bottom. So I kind of don't really wanna do that much of it. No, I'm like simplifying the windows a lot. So instead of like drawing the each pane, like each window pane and the details, I'm just choosing which details to draw. Okay, now that I've done that, I need to keep going. What are these? These are supposed to be the shadows, but that's fine. I was gonna draw a little bit of like the rivet that I see here, because this is like the arch of the entrance. But not too much because it's gonna be overlapped by the greens. And as you can see, I'm already reactivating the white. So I kind of don't want to tamper with it a bit too much. I technically can write in the post office with a fountain pen. So I'm also wondering if I should do that just to preserve like the exactness of this. No, actually, we're using a brush. Let's stamp it. I think because the bristles are like not together, I think maybe my brush is not damp enough or something. I spoke too soon because as I was lettering this, the camera shut off, which I think you may have realized, but I just put this in with a fountain pen because I did not trust myself to do Chinese lettering. And even here, it doesn't look very balanced, but we are going to move on and just start doing greens now. So I did, in the meantime, I did like re-wet my palette a little bit, and we're gonna start, oh, this is gonna be hard. We're gonna start with some greens, and currently my view, as you can see here, it's all in shadow. So we're gonna start first and see if any of these greens catch a light when the light comes back. So, although leaves often take like a random shape, I try to pull like the big shapes that are here, and the big shape is that they're all vertical strands. So this is what we're gonna do. And I think you can also see why I wasn't so invested in like the windows in the background, because all of this is going to be covered by leaves that are covering my line of sight because surprise, surprise, I am short, which you may have like deduced from my videos to begin with. But I think it just helps to not be precious with your paints and your painting in general, because we're here to get the reps in. You know, sometimes I like try to think not everything is like a masterpiece, but everything is just a matter of getting the reps in. Okay, so the light is here, and I can see that there is not much changes in the leaves. Well, I guess surprise, surprise again, because they are in shadow. But I'm able to add a little bit of color and dimension to these leaves. Often it is just by sprinkling a little bit of a different color. So this is, I guess, yellow ochre makes it a little bit of white. Let me mix it with cerulean green. That looks too blue. I want a little bit of yellow here. Yellow, like the paints I'm using currently is like Holbein. And Holbein have like a really good knack of, I'm just gonna put it from top down because that's how the light currently is. Holbein paints are really thick and opaque, and this is kind of my favorite way to paint because I don't like putting a lot of layers. So, and you can see, even though I'm not doing much, I'm literally just overlaying like the lighter leaves over the darker ones, but it already adds like so much more dimension, I guess, to the painting. There's like, okay, maybe not dimension, but there's like a little bit of texture and variety. And we always love a little bit of texture and variety in our paintings. And so my last bit of detail here is actually, I'm just gonna put in like the stems of these leaves. It is a purplish color. I'm just gonna graze it over like that. And I can see that it's starting to get crowded, so I might leave a little bit sooner. And I think that's it. That's going to be the drawing for today. Oh, actually, while we're at this, I'm just gonna draw in like the remaining letters because why not? And that's going to be it for, oh, sorry. This is where I tend to like really like to add in like a little bit of detail and stuff. I'm just scribbling in. This is the poster. I can't read it. I think it's some event that's happening over the weekend or something. But just to give it a little bit of extra detail that can kind of like take this to the final step. All right, okay, I think this needs to be done here, so I will stop the recording right here and flip to results right now. And with that, the sketch is over and we're done with our painting of the day. And I think I'm quite happy to close this chapter of this season. Can we do that now? Because YouTube is like what I watch instead of TV shows, so can I do that a season? But yeah, this is what we're gonna pause with for now. I'll catch you guys back here in a couple of weeks, and in the meantime, if you have any ideas on what you would like to see, please comment down below. Stay creative, stay awesome. I'll see you here, not this time next week, but in a couple of weeks. Actually, I forgot to mention, there's a couple of videos that I've shot that I'm really excited about. Well, they require a little bit of editing support, so I'm hoping that maybe when I come back, I'll come back with a little bit of a bang, a little bit of some bangers in the making, and maybe I'll take my time with those and decide that that's how I return to this YouTube sphere, because only gotta give the best to you guys, right? And yeah, and with that, I'll catch you here sometime soon. Bye.